Okay, hey everybody. Welcome. Welcome to ATL Photo Night, the first one of 2026. Wow, we're at the goat farm, everybody. Who's been to the goat farm before? This place is incredible. We're so happy to be here. Thank you for coming out. My name is Raymond McCrae Jones. This is my partner, Kevin Liles. We are both photographers, and we also do this event, which we started 10 years ago.
2016.
Just another lifetime ago,
Yeah.
pre-COVID. Things were very, very different then. And some of you that I have seen here tonight were at events then or involved in some way. My good friend Barbara Griffin is here, who has been very influential to both of Kevin and I in the organization, and so many other people. So yeah, just thanks for coming out. If it's your first one, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what ATL Photo Night is. So Kevin and I, like I said, are photographers, and Kevin had this idea to hey, we're photographers.
We should show work or something.
We should get together and talk about work. And the first one was at here's a deep cut, Octane Coffee. Who remembers Octane? R.I.P.
Right? Yeah,
man,
unbelievable. Yeah, I just put up a Facebook ad, and I was like, anybody interested in photography, talking about photography, show up, and 40 people came, and I was
the coffee shop didn't work after that. But the first one. But I'm really thankful that Octane was there. The place is still there, but it's not Octane. So, but from there we've grown to doing. In many iterations, the event has existed. Even through COVID, we took some time off. We were doing it we did weekly live.
No, we did daily lives.
That's ludicrous. I don't know how we did that, but apparently we did daily.
We were just we're going to be on Instagram every day until shit gets back to normal.
And then we were like, maybe not.
They were like, never mind, all right, 30 days is enough.
Yeah.
This is our 9th location.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
9th location. I've moved around a lot. I'm gonna list them, and this is for a couple of other deep cuts. So the very first place after Octane, we were at a place called Foster. Shout out to Phil Sanders, who ran that independent co-working space in Ponce Highland. And then Citizen Supply, second floor of Ponce City Market. Super cool. Facet Gallery, run by Elliot Liss and Peter Ferrari. No longer there either. White Space is still there on Edgewood Avenue in Inman Park. Really cool, really unique gallery. That was super cool.
That was amazing. That was a one-off. We had Greg from the High.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And then we went to Switch Yards downtown. Love Switch Yards. And then we went to my backyard during COVID in the West End.
Yeah.
And then Treehouse Studio. And then Terminus Studio, which also is closed, unfortunately, sadly. And now we're here at Goat Farm.
Here we are. How many folks, this is your first time here? Oh, wow. Wow. Well, that's amazing. Well, welcome. We are so glad you're here. We're going to get some thank yous. We really have a lot of thank yous.
Let me just say our tagline first, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't been before, the whole point of this is every event we invite a different artist, different guest photographer. We've had photographers of all kinds. I mean, I'm not going to list them, but all different types. So we really try to.
We even had a psychologist. No, not psychologist. What was Danny? He was like a
phototherapist. Yeah, Danny Gaitis, my friend in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
really, really great guy. But the point is to investigate the creative process through conversation, and that's it. It's not about it's not only about what lens are you using, how cool is your camera. It's really digging into the process that got the artist to the work we're looking at. So that's what it's all about. This is run by us. It's by artists, for artists. It's free, always will be free. So yeah, just thank you for your support. We're gonna thank some sponsors now, and then we'll get on to the show.
Well, first, when you say us, I do want to thank Julian and Jen. Where are they at? I need you guys to.
Our colleagues, Julian.
And where's Jen?
Julian
Jen
and Jen.
Yeah. These guys, because let me back up a little bit. We're gonna get started, I promise. But we had a hiatus. Ray was busy with work. I started it back myself. This is like 22, 23, I think.
Yeah.
I was kind of like doing the best I could. I was like, I didn't have enough help. I was just like, all right, I'm just going to shutter it altogether. And then Julian saw me at a Falcons game, and he was like, hey, like, what if we did all the work and you guys just like get up and talk? And I was like, all right.
Might be onto something. Might be onto something.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to turn that down. So here we are, and these guys seriously are doing so much work. They handled all of this. It's amazing. And when I say all of this, like everything. But I want to move on to thanking some other folks. We've got to thank the Goat Farm for having us here. This is like so cool. This is one of the best of like venues we've had.
Yeah.
So glad you guys came here and could find parking. Want to shout out to our sponsors, Aperture Rent. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about Aperture Rent here in Atlanta, renting equipment, camera rental, lighting equipment, lenses, audio and video gear, all shipped right to you or pick up right here in town. And they've got locations in all kinds of places, don't they? It's like it's like 3 or 4 cities. And we've got KEH back here in the back. Woo!
Long-time sponsor.
Long-time
I'm
sponsor.
sure everybody in this room has bought something from KEH. If you
KEH.
haven't, you're really missing out.
Oh, yeah. Like, they are serving camera communities since 1979. Largest curated market for field-tested, expert-graded cameras, photography, and video equipment. Online store, and they have a place in Smyrna, walk-in place.
Yep, actual store now. Yeah, check it
Yeah,
out.
really cool spot. They do repairs now, which is really cool. There's not a lot of places to get things repaired these days without spending an arm and a leg. But they've been a sponsor with us forever, man. Like, we would not be here without KEH. So I really just want to thank them for everything they've done.
Yes, thank you.
And yep. And we've got Kimberwick doing the video production here tonight. Matt
Bish over here.
Yep, and his crew, and the accent lights. They are in charge of doing a great job. So yeah, they are here.
If you, real quick about Kimberwick, if you're a photographer, you're shooting for a client and they say, hey, we really love some video while you're doing your job, while you're being your photographer. So you can just call Matt and say, hey, I've got this job. They're looking for video. They will handle it all for you. They'll do that so you can not go crazy trying to do all of it at the same time, or just source people, the full production crew. So they love working with photographers. They're kind of specialized in that. So please, give them a call. It's Kimberwick. Matt Bish is here. You can talk to him later or anytime. Just go interrupt him during the show. He won't mind at all.
He didn't care. He's not doing anything. I'm just kidding.
Chill guy.
And follow us on social, ATL Photo Night. Fun story. About 2 weeks ago, our Twitter got hacked. I think we have like 160 followers. But it got hacked. I got an email that said your email had been changed, and I logged in, and it was some weird email, and I was like, oh my God. And there was a phone number. They had changed the phone number, but I was still logged in, so I wrote the phone number down, and then 5 minutes later, I was locked out, right? But before I locked out, I bought the blue check. And that's what saved us, for you 160 of you out there, we're still here. But I started texting that number, and it was a blue dot. It was an iPhone. I was like, holy shit, it's a person. So I was like, hey, how are you? Any chance you logged into another? Long story short, they wanted $1,000 in Apple gift cards.
Yeah, they just straight up responded, hey, send me $1,000 and we'll give you your password
So
back.
I gave it a pause, and then I said,
No fucking way.
I said, hey, man, will you take 500? I swear to you, all I did. And he said yes, and I was like, ha, 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 F you, you'll never get a dime from me. And then X gave our account back the next day, and I started to text him again and be like, but I didn't. So anyway, follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. We got our friend Brandon Magnus here, and I'm going to read his bio for you. Brandon is a sports and portrait photographer who grew up in Hawaii in Orange County. After graduating from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, he moved to San Diego in 2012 to pursue photography. Worked under sports photographer Donald Morale. Legendary. In 2014, he became the full-time staff photographer for the UFC, where he photographed fight events, behind-the-scenes moments, and portraits. During his time with the UFC, Magnus covered over 100 live UFC events in 5 continents and produced content for fight posters, digital ads, billboards used all around the world. In 2018, he accepted a role as the photography manager for the San Jose Sharks and the SAP Center. Brandon led a team of photographers to cover hockey games, concerts, community events, media days, and he built their first digital asset management system, DAM. Brandon now works full-time as the director of photo and DAM for AMB, Mercedes-Benz, Sports and Entertainment, which oversees the Falcons, Atlanta United, and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He lives in Atlanta with his wife and 3 kids, and that's a hell of a resume. Brandon, welcome.
Woo. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I have to say, I'm really excited to have you here. I think it's the first time we've had a team photographer interview a team photographer.
Yeah.
With the Braves, Falcons, United, et cetera. But just been a big fan of your work for a long time. And one of the biggest things I like that you do is that, you even told me you're not the best action photographer.
No.
You focus on, so much else other than action, like the peripheral, the fans, the colors, I just love it. So this is a bit I'm just so excited to have you. That's all. I'm going to stop gushing and we're going to get started. And we're going to start with this photo with you and Donald, right?
Yeah. So I won't try and go down memory lane too much, but I think it's easy to kind of go down the path of how it started. Originally, I went to school to be an environmental lawyer. So I didn't go to school for photography. I always did it for fun. And then my senior year, I decided that I did not want to go to law school, finish my undergrad.
What year was this?
This was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. Told my parents that I was going to pursue photography. They were horrified. My mom tried to convince me for 5 years after that I could still go to law school. She's accepted it now. She's seen it's worked out. But I had the opportunity to work with Dawn, who's a legend in the industry, has captured every sport, every Olympics, not every Olympics, but a lot of them. But Dawn specialized in underwater photography, and everything that I learned from him was kind of the base of what started my photo career. And a lot of it was just being an assistant, learning lighting, setting things up, see how his mind worked and operated.
That's so invaluable. Without that,
Oh yeah, when I moved to San Diego too, the first thing he told me was I'm not going to be able to pay you much, but I will give you a free education. And that's exactly what he did. So I worked with him during the days, and that night I bartended just to be able to pay rent.
Well, let me ask you, how did you get hooked up with him?
So it was a random night in college. I was stoned on the couch with one of my best friends. And he asked me what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't have an answer for that. And we were just talking, and he had a picture on his wall. And I was like, oh, I always liked photography. It was fun. And he was like, oh, yeah, my dad surfs with this guy that does photography for fun. You guys should connect. And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. I emailed him, no joke, 40 times before he finally answered me. And then he was like, all right, stop emailing me. I'll let you, let's meet. We'll have, breakfast, and I can kind of see,
That you're not psycho.
Yeah, that you're actually, a normal person. So we met. We had breakfast. He invited me for that first picture to be his assistant for the U.S. Open in San Francisco. No, back
that one. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I was first moment, kind of first experience working with a professional.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment where I was like, wow, I can kind of do this as a career. That next picture was Washington Nationals
Media
Day
Yeah.
in Florida, some random spot in Florida. But I was pretty much a human light stand the entire time. But again, that experience is invaluable. Learning how lighting works, seeing how the photographer that's capturing everything sets it, seeing how they do it, and then the actual results from it. A big theme for tonight is kind of just getting the reps in, repetition, and that's how you get better, is just over time.
Well, speaking of getting reps, I do want to say we have 105 pictures. So we're
And
going
I
to
cut that down.
Oh, so we're going to move fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to say that. And not only just learning, you know, how to take pictures, but all the other things that go into being a good photographer. You know, I tell people, like, you know, the pictures are like 10%. It's like the prep and everything you do ahead of time and how to handle yourself and high pressure, all those things. Like seeing that under the microscope with him had to be like really cool.
Yeah, I mean, taking the photos was the easiest part. Everything planning leading up to it is the hardest part. But the one thing that he told me that has stayed with me, and I've told everyone on my team, is 6 Ps. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
I'm laughing. I heard that my whole life. Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times that rings in my head if I don't prepare for something and then I miss something or mess something up, and I'm like, all it took was those 6 Ps, and I just didn't do it.
Yep.
But
Way to go, Brandon.
Yeah.
Way to go. Well, kick us off here with some of your underwater pictures here.
Yeah, so one of the first big shoots I had with Don was the Ironman triathlon in Hawaii. Don, again, is famous for his underwater photography, and he had planned to go into a helicopter and get a photo of the swim start. And for the Ironman, there's a 2,000 person swim start, just 2,000 people in the water, and they start kicking each other in the face and swimming. And Don had done it underwater multiple times, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna go up in the helicopter, but I need someone to get photos from down below. And I was like, that's cool. He's like, the event's in 2 weeks. Are you scuba certified? And I was like, no. And he's like, let's get scuba certified. So got scuba certified, and a week later, I was underwater taking those pictures, having a panic attack.
So had you scuba dove a lot before? Or?
No, I mean, I'd snorkeled growing up in Hawaii and Southern California, surfed all the time. So I was very comfortable in the water, but it was more so having a panic attack, having his $4,000 camera underwater and not really knowing how to use it and just trying to figure it out. So after that, I felt like I could do anything. Like, took this picture. It was in my portfolio for a long time because it's, you know, is truly unique. There's only about 4 people in the world that have gotten that picture because they've restricted it big time now because they don't want people ruining the swim start of the triathlon. Yeah,
I got you. Well, that's he put you in a good spot for success being under the water like that. It makes for some good pictures.
Yeah, and you know, when you're starting your photography career early, like, you're not getting those big commercial jobs. You're kind of barely getting any jobs. So like a big aspect of what you need to do is just build that portfolio on your own. So, you know, like I said, I always grew up by the water, and I was always capturing photos. So like I did everything I could to build my portfolio. This is a drone shot of a surfer in Santa Cruz. And, you know, after that triathlon shoot with Don, like, I was obsessed with underwater photography, and I would do everything I can to learn. And so I would just talk to people I know. I knew this swimmer. We just went to a pool and hopped in. No lights. That's just natural sunlight.
Available light?
Available light, yeah.
Wow.
And just like ran through it like multiple times, trying to just add things in my portfolio that I thought was cool, that I thought would help get me clients. This next one was a girl I knew in college. This one had a light, so I had my underwater camera, a tether to a light outside of the pool, and just have her float, and it would just pop off.
So how much time had passed since the day on the couch to here?
About a year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're fully like got the photography bug. You're like, I'm shooting.
Yeah, I just like lived and breathed it.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it's kind of easy when you're, you know, well, I say easy, but you're 22, trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, trying to figure out a way to make money. And so it's like every like waking moment was me trying to learn and figure out photography and see what worked. And, you know, you'll see a lot of pictures today, and it's a very small amount of how many pictures have been taken, how many shitty pictures have been taken. Like, these are just, you know, some decent ones that came out of it. So for every good picture, there's about 1,000 awful ones. But this photo always stuck with me. It was with that same shoot, and just trying to add layers to it because it started to feel like repetitive of just like a girl floating in water. So I would just put my hand outside the water and I'd just start splashing it. It would form these bubbles. and I would add layers to it. And again, like these photos weren't going anywhere besides like my portfolio. Like I just
It's
always
just a
loved
friend of
it.
yours, right?
Yeah, just a
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
And so I just kind of, this photo always stuck with me. Subjective if it's a good photo or not, but like I've always had like a attachment to it. And this photo was shot in 2013. And so recently we had a kit launch photo shoot for Atlanta United, Spirit of 96 kit. And we had multiple shoots for it, but one of them, the shoots that we discussed, was bringing in a former Olympian swimmer. And, you know, I knew how to do underwater photography. We rented the gear. This time I had like 3 lights prepped. And I just thought back to this photo that I always loved that just never really saw the light of day, and kind of incorporated that into this shoot. And, you know, it kind of was cool to see 13 years later the same idea brought back to life, but then have a use case for it in a launch for a jersey kit.
What did you tell me though? You said like for you, photos never die. Like when you haven't like a cool, it's never perfect. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like, I don't think I've ever taken a perfect photo. Every single time I look at my photos, there's just something about them that like pisses me off. I'm like, I should have done that. I should have done this. I wish I did that. I wish I did this. And so for me, I'm always thinking about the last photo I took and what I could have done better. And I think, you know, photo never dies in terms of like, I always thought of that bubble photo, and I was like, I would love to do that again one day. And the opportunity came. Took 13 years, but you know, it was still there. And so there'll be a couple photos in the slideshow where it's kind of that same thing. And then here's a little behind the scenes of, got my scuba gear, got one light on the camera, got Matt Dingle, our photo assistant for United, holding another light that triggers a light outside of the pool to shoot down. So overcomplicated. I tell my team all the time, less is more, and I don't listen to my own advice and make myself very stressed at times. But same thing, I think like all the things that you learn and the skills that you have can be applied in so many different ways and opportunities. You know, I love underwater photography, but there's not too many opportunities to do it when capturing soccer or football. So we had another opportunity with former Falcons player Grady Jarrett just going through rehab. And one of the things that he was doing rehab in this pool. It's kind of disgusting, just full of chlorine and tiny.
This photo looks a lot better on the laptop, FYI. Like, it's a bit blown out, washed out. Don't make fun of our background either. It's
But again, it's finding those opportunities to take advantage of, right? You know, it's like there might not be a lot of opportunities to do underwater photography for football or soccer, but like when those opportunities arise, like why not? And they provide just unique perspectives and just, you know, we found ways to use them for the organization, which is good and great and really kind of the point of why they hire you.
Was it a hard sell? Like when you were like, hey, I want to do some shit underwater. Were they like, wait a minute, what are you doing?
I don't think they knew what to expect, but they were kind of like, yeah, sure. Fortunately, I had been here for a couple years already, so I think there was already like somewhat of a established trust. And then when they saw it, everyone was happy with it. So.
With Grady, was there a lot of directing on that? Were you like, all right, I want you to go underwater and scream, or you know, all those kinds of things?
Yeah.
Right?
So it gave him a couple ideas prior to the shoot, and then just pop my head up, tell him what I want, pop back down. Did that like 20 times until I got the bubbles kind of where I wanted it, and to the point where he's like, okay, I'm done with my rehab. Like, scout the pool. But another big thing, going back to when you're starting your career, is personal projects. Big believer. I do a lot less of them now just because work is busy and life is busy with 3 kids, but personal projects I think are really important for you to get the reps in, understand your camera, how light works, so everything becomes second nature. And this was a series of photos that I did when I lived in San Diego. Like I surfed all the time, and I always struggled because I'm like, do I want to go surf because like the waves are pumping, or do I want to go like swim out with my camera and get some cool photos? But I knew a lot of people out there, recognized a lot of people, and then one day I was like, you know, it'd be cool to do a portrait series with surfers, paddlers, swimmers coming out of the water, provided a unique perspective because they all have different like water droplets on their face, everyone looked different. The older people looked great because they had very weathered specific looks. And then, again, that series of portraits I always loved. There was no use case for them other than just building my portfolio.
And you were out there with like a, didn't you say you had like somebody holding a background, and somebody holding a reflector, or like a
I
diffuser?
have flags, so just a black flag as a background, and then I had a scrim, kind of like what we have up here, just to diffuse the sunlight. So no lights were used. It was just natural light for all of that. You can kind of see there's like, it looks like he has a little rim light, but that's just kind of where the sun's hitting through the.
And you're just grabbing people as they come out, like, hey, come over.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and like some of them I knew because like they
yeah.
recognized me from surfing, and other people I'd just be like, whoever would come up, and some people would be like, I just got pounded on the head by a wave, like leave me alone. But you know, from that moment on, like I always loved headshots. Headshots were like, I just found them fascinating in terms of just seeing every unique face, all these little details. So ever since then, once I did start getting staff jobs, I always incorporated headshots into any portrait session that I do for the most part. This one was at the UFC. I had just a big styrofoam, white styrofoam, cut a hole in the middle, had continuous light bouncing off of it, so it gave just nice even light all around. And this next one was randomly Post Malone concert. Had the opportunity to take photos of him after the show. Waited 3 hours after the show because he was crushing beers. But just had a simple ring light set up. He came over, had him for like 15 seconds, took like 8 shots, popped out, and you know sometimes it is just like lucky. You just, but again, like this.
Well, it's the 6 Ps.
6 Ps, yeah. Prepared, ready to go, and like again, like each of these headshots. While they are headshots, they are different and unique in their own way. And each time I took a headshot, I would think of like, what can I do differently? How can I get this better? How can I make it look different? So that way it wasn't like a headshot.
Did you have any like inspiration from other like Avedon or anybody like that who you were?
Yes, I'm blanking on his name. Martin Scholler. Martin
yeah,
Scholler was a
yeah.
big inspiration.
He does a lot of street photography with that, doesn't he?
He did street photography, but it has like a very unique. It's like 2 strips. Sometimes it's called a clamshell, where it's 2 strips, one light up and up top, down below. It provides even light all across. And he would do a series of portraits, some with homeless people, but became very big and like was huge with celebrities. And if any of you saw his work, you would recognize his portraits immediately. But that was a big inspiration. So.
And it's crazy, like you literally, I don't know if people sometimes believe it, like when you say I had 15 seconds, you really had 15 seconds with him, right?
Oh yeah, he came in, sat down, and you just, you have to nail focus, try and get them to relax, and hopefully capture a moment. Because sometimes you can get it and it just falls flat. They're just looking at camera, they look unenthused, they're not enjoying themselves.
There's nothing you can do.
Nothing there.
Yeah.
Like when I look at this, it looks like there's some sadness behind those eyes. I don't know what it is.
There's a lot. This is incredible.
Yeah. Granted, it just has always tired right under his eyes too. So like, that could be the case. And same thing, I came here and one of the first photo shoots I had was with Atlanta United and went through all the guys. And this time I had 3 lights set up and I was just, looking through what Atlanta United had done in the past, and they had never really done headshots. So I'm like, well, this is easy. Just give them something new that fulfills what I like to do and then provides them something new. And gave a creative team some new assets to use and find ways to kind of explore how to use headshots. So it all goes back to me of like those personal projects of what you enjoy doing, what helps fulfill you, builds your portfolio, but then you continue to use that throughout your career and continue to build upon it.
Yeah, it's just stayed with you this whole time. Like continue. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get. There we go.
Yeah. So another thing for me is like I always just have like random thoughts and ideas of photos I would like to have. And there's ideas I've had for years I still haven't nailed or captured. This photo was from when I was in college. I was in a black and white film class, and I did a series of tattoo portraits, super original. But My dad was a professional kickboxer. He owned a gym, so I grew up in a boxing gym when I was young, and I always loved combat sports. And I had this idea to capture my friend Arjun, like after a fight, defeated, just looking sad, just kind of go in his emotions. I look at the picture now, I'm like, God, it's awful. He's like sitting on the edge of his bed. There's a dresser in the background with a water bottle. It's just an awful photo, but you know, I always had this idea in my head of something that I had pictured from fights growing up, watching them. And then 3 years later, I got a job at the UFC. I was covering fights. And after one fight, this guy just got his ass handed to him. The fight ends, they open the cage, I hop in the cage, and I grab this picture. And as soon as I took it, I thought back to that original film photo I took. And I was like, this is kind of what I envisioned, what I thought of getting one day. So it's kind of fun to look back at some of the old images that you capture, see the progress that you've made, but kind of just like how that always kind of, the idea kind of always lingers there in your head.
So you were working as a staff photographer at UFC. That's amazing. So you went from like just pulling your friends out of the water, and now you're staffer at UFC. Like,
Yeah. So my first year at the UFC, I came in and I was like, I'm gonna shoot all these big fights. I'm gonna do all this crazy stuff. And my like first 6 months are like, no, you're gonna like cut out fighters for posters, and you're gonna work on digital asset management, and you'll shoot the small fights. They had like a TV show called The Ultimate Fighter, and they had a couple other things. So I was the lowest on the totem pole, but I didn't let that deter me from capturing photos. So what I wanted to do is I'm like, I want to shoot more. Like I wasn't getting as many opportunities as I thought to shoot. I want to shoot more and more and more. And what I did was I made relationships with fighters, and going into their fight, I was like, hey, can I come follow you during your training camp and take pictures? And, that is probably where I grew the most, because I took photos in the most horribly lit gyms ever, just finding unique
and this
angles.
is after hours, right?
This is all after hours,
Yeah.
so that was a big thing. My boss did not care about what I did after hours. He's like, as long as you get your work done, I don't care what you do after. So a lot of this was after my normal 8-hour workday. I go meet the guys at the gym, capture pictures. And I got very fortunate that one of the fighters I built a relationship early on with was Conor McGregor. And he let me come and capture all of his fight camps. And he let me take portraits of him. And I took this one portrait that at the time I was very proud of. It was just 2 strip lights side by side. It was like, look up, scream. And I was like, oh, this is epic. My VP of brand saw it, and she was like, what is this? He's not wearing UFC gloves. I can barely see, like, everything's dark. Like, what is this piece of shit? And I'm like, well, I like it. Thankfully, our creative director at the time saw it, and she was like, oh, this is sick. We'll use this for a promo before his fight in 2 weeks. And I woke up 2 weeks later, and they used this photo on like a giant billboard in Ireland. And I was like, I love this woman, because I was like down the dumps, being like, I had my opportunity, I blew it, I'm not following brand guidelines.
I didn't have gloves. Like,
yeah, I was like doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
But again, a huge part of my time there early on was just building these relationships with fighters, capturing all these moments. And then eventually I was given the opportunity to shoot the big fights and do everything. But a big key moment was Conor got the opportunity to have a fight with Floyd Mayweather. It was like the biggest fight they ever had. And I joined Conor for 6 weeks during his training camp, captured like thousands and thousands of photos. Most of it was around like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I'd do a full day of work at UFC.
This is all still just after hours, right?
Yeah, so I'd work at the office from like 9 to 5, go home, get dinner, be back in the gym around 10 or 11. Capture all these photos. It was an amazing experience, but after the fight ended, I was like, I have like gigabytes of photos, and I have no idea what to do with them. Like, what am I doing with this? I guess I can like build a little like side portfolio with it. And I spoke to my old mentor, Don, and I was like, can you take a look at this? What do you think? And he's looking at it and he's like, I think you have something here. He's like, whittle your photos down to 12 photos. And I had thousands of photos. And so I whittled it down to about a couple hundred. And then I finally got to 12. And he's like, okay, you're going to send this these 12 photos in for sports picture story. And so I submitted to this website, this photo contest called POII, Pictures of the Year International. And got very lucky and fortunate, but it won Sports Picture Story of the Year that year. I was shocked because, I mean, it was the biggest fight the UFC ever had, and it wasn't even a UFC fight. And so, again, lowest on the totem pole. I shot his whole camp, but then when fight day came, they're like, yeah, no, you don't have seniority. We're going to shoot the fight. You can go edit for us. And I was convinced that because I didn't shoot the fight, didn't tell a complete story.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it still tells a great story. You just don't really know how it ends.
Yeah. I have a similar story about World Series. I'll tell you later. Yeah, so how long were you at UFC?
I was at the UFC for about 4.5 years.
Wow. Was this pretty on in your career there?
I met Connor early on. I met him my first year,
Yeah.
and then I just captured every fight camp that I did all the way up to the end. And I actually shot a fight again after I left while I was working with the Sharks. He called and asked if I could still come out for one. And the Sharks were really cool about it. They're like, all the hockey guys were like obsessed with Connor.
Oh,
so they're
sure.
like, yeah, like, of course, like, go do that. And I was
You're
like,
the coolest
it
guy.
worked out.
Yeah. And the Sharks, that was your next gig, right?
Yeah, so I moved on from the UFC, kind of gained a lot of experience there, but it was a brutal job at times. Like, you're on the road 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. So, like, you know, it was really cool when you're 24 and week 1 you're in New York, you're like, this is awesome. Week 2 you're in Brazil, you're like, epic. Week 3 you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you're like, I really want to go home.
And then how many games do they have a season?
Fights, they have a fight pretty much every weekend.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Sharks.
No, UFC.
Oh, I see.
So that was kind of the motivator to be like, I think it's time to get some of my personal life back. I went to the Sharks. I had never shot hockey. I didn't know much about hockey, but it was a great opportunity. And I told them, you know, before I got the UFC job, I never shot a single fight. So I don't think it really matters that I don't know how to shoot hockey. I know how to capture moments and tell a story. And thankfully that helped sell it. And same thing, you know, I did a lot of storytelling of images that never really saw the light of the day, but the guys appreciated it. It was great for like historical documentation. And then for the Sharks, you know, I was their first staff photographer they ever had. They had contractors before then. And so their contractors, they'd just been there a long time, and they were kind of mailing it in at the end. So when I came in, I was just eager. I got to run the show for the first time, and I had all these ideas, and Sharks were amazing because they were like, you know, creative freedom, do whatever you want, like just make sure that, you know, we have stuff for our social team to use. And I was like, I can do that. Went up into their catwalk, threw a camera in the net, started throwing lights up in the catwalk.
This right here, this is incredible.
Yeah, just guys, kind of same thing, like guys beating each other up. I kind of had that experience, but this time it was on ice. So I was with the Sharks for about 3 years, and it was a fantastic experience. First time really building and managing a team of photographers. And again, like, it is pretty unique to go somewhere and just kind of have complete creative freedom. This is a behind the scenes photos of an idea I had of taking pictures under the ice of the hockey players. And it wasn't, obviously you couldn't go under ice, so we got this huge piece of plexiglass, worked with the arena team. They helped me build up a stage that was safe. And yeah, you know, this was an idea I had from like day one when I worked at the Sharks, and it didn't happen until like 2 years later.
Now, like you doing all that like behind the scenes stuff and hanging out with the guys, like it had to just build that rapport with the team.
Oh yeah, build the trust,
because
because the very first year I pitched it, they're like, you want to put a guy on skates on plexiglass? and you want to sit under the plexiglass. It sounds like a huge liability, and we have no desire to do that.
Yeah.
So year 1, it got shot down. Year 2, did enough great work and like pitched it to the guys too, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sick, let's do it."
Yeah. You get them on board, like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The rest of
They
them.
were all about it. And we had a giant shark head, which was guys skated out of. It was cool.
How long were you at the Sharks?
3 years.
3 years.
During COVID, and then after COVID, we had our first child, and we're like, we love California, but California's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, need to start getting a little extra space as we build our family. And kind of out of the blue, a job opened up in Atlanta. I'd never been to Atlanta. I'd never stepped foot in Atlanta. But the job was for a manager of photography with Atlanta, and it oversaw Falcons, United, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I was like, this kind of sounds like the perfect next step in my career. Interviewed for 4 months. Thankfully got it. But it was a long time where I was like, every week I'd be like, I didn't get it. And then they called 2 weeks later and they're like, you ready for your next round? I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to ask you, like, when you were still doing all this stuff with the Sharks and UFC, were you still calling Don, getting advice, or like helping you with like the plexiglass stuff and things like that?
Yeah. So I still talk to Don probably like weekly. I've brought him out to a couple games. He's helped us here and there, and I try and return the favor, give him some jobs, because without him, I wouldn't have had a career. He literally put me on the path for success, and I think that's another thing is I do think it's very important, not necessary, but important to have someone in your life, career, that's a mentor to you that you can kind of lean back on. And you know, he was very much like a fatherly figure to me as well. So it wasn't just photography. He gave me a lot of great life advice too. One of the ones I always remember was like his sister had a baby, and we were coming back after capturing the LA Marathon, and we had shot for like 12 hours. It's like, hey, can we go to the hospital see my like sister's kid? And I'm like, okay, I'm exhausted, but sure. We go, we see his kid. It was a great moment. And then we're driving back, and he's like, you know, everything you do career-wise, photos, like, it doesn't matter. Like, what matters is, like, your family. Everything you do is for them. Like, no one's going to remember the picture you took 20 years ago, but your kids are going to remember, like, everything you did with them. I was 24 at the time, so it, like, didn't really resonate with me. I was just like, just get me home. Like,
You're like, thanks, Unc.
but like I always, yes, but I always remember that, and I always try and kind of think about that now. It's like, you know, take a lot of pride in what I do, and I'm always striving to take better photos. But then I get home, and it's like, see my kids, my family. I'm like, this is what it's all for. And like, if I have a shitty day, like, you know, it doesn't really matter.
Your kids
like,
don't care.
Yeah. So having a mentor is important. Try and get one.
So you come to Atlanta, and you got massive budgets for.
Yeah. So a big thing is, I think in anything, is building trust, right? So when I first came here for Falcons and United, things were a lot more just bare bone, like not bad, just very simple. And we had our media days. We always do a white set, campaign set. And we were talking, and it'd be like, hey, it'd be really cool to do like a lifestyle set and kind of showcase guys' personalities and their fits. And a lot of people didn't really get it at first. And they're just like, I guess, like, sure, do it, but you don't have any additional budget. So all I did was get a styrofoam, like V-flat. We had a bunch of flags already of each of the nationalities for each player. We just pinned them to a board, just had them stand in front of it, do a couple different poses. And the players loved it, social liked it, and like found a lot of use cases for it. So after that first year, they're like, hey, lifestyle set, that was great. Like, here's some budget. Now you can kind of build upon that. So the next year, we got a Schmidley background, wanted to make it more of a Vogue-esque look, had a bunch of different props, peaches, a coat rack that had every kit top that United ever had. Thiago Almada, he had just won the World Cup leading into this, so he had a replica World Cup trophy. And so that did very well. They loved it. Guys loved it even more because they all showed up in like their outfits that they loved, that they could then showcase their personalities.
Because that's a big thing, is getting the players to buy in on stuff.
Always.
Like if they don't, then it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So that was year 2. Year 3, they're like, lifestyle set, we love it. Here's an even bigger budget. We got a set builder, helped build us a set to feel like we were in like a corner of a house. Our designer, Jose, made this amazing design for the wallpaper. You can't really see it here, but, the point of all of this is that, like, you don't just sometimes come into a job and just get handed the reins and do whatever you want. Like, you're always kind of starting fresh. You got to build that trust. Same thing on the Falcons side. When I first got here, the only thing they did was, like, a white backdrop. Sometimes they do a little something extra, but it was just white backdrop. My first year, we did a white backdrop, and we added a red paper backdrop. And they were a little hesitant. They're like, is that Falcons red? And I'm like, it's close enough. But it worked. It did well. And then, we built upon that. We did like a locker room set, an overhead set. And then this past year, we did a set that had like reflective metal to it, which was a bit of a nightmare.
I did that too with the red background. I showed up with red, and they asked if that was Braves red, and I was like, I don't know.
It's red. It's red.
It's superior paper red.
And then this one, so after we did 3 years of lifestyle set, we kind of felt like we did too much lifestyle set, and we're like, let's move on, let's do something different. And so we made an action set. And this one was a bit of a nightmare because, again, I have these grand ideas, and I'm like, it was for the connector kit. And we're like, let's make like shiny stars. We'll use a star filter on the camera. We'll add lights so we generate these stars. And we literally just got like Christmas lights that you would put on your house, put them through the little holes of this backdrop. And
Hang on. Sorry. There we go.
And then we created, a little bit more of a dynamic action set. And then my genius idea, we had just moved from Nikon to Sony, and the Sony A9 IIIs had 120 frame per second bursts. And I'm like, it would be really cool to capture these GIFs and videos for social use. And it was an absolute nightmare to go through and edit and combine and do all of those for every single player.
Oh, you did a thing for every player.
Every single player has about 10
sorry.
different GIFs. And you don't apologize because it was my awful idea.
It was a great idea until you read this.
It was a great idea until we were doing it, and everyone's panicking because the camera's trying to buffer after each one. You only have a certain amount of time with each guy, and you're trying to get them to hit the spot just right. And we got through it, and it was great. But sometimes it's better to keep your ideas to yourself. They're just ideas.
Or test them out before you get...
Yeah. But again, a lot of that is like, this organization does a great job with supporting creativity. And I think the most important thing that any creative photographer should know, especially if you're in a staff job, is like, you always need to get the work that is required of you done first, and then you can kind of be a little more creative, think out of the box, and do those pieces that fulfill you, right? But if you go in and you're just trying to capture whatever it is that you want, that you think's cool, that you enjoy, and you're not providing the needs that the company is requiring of you, then you're not doing your job. You're not going to last long at the job.
And I will say the inverse of that is if you just get what they want and you never get what you want, it also doesn't last long.
Oh, you'll hate your job. You'll resent photography. So it's like it's a little balance of kind of figuring out what's needed, what's required of you, and then make sure there's a little time to kind of fulfill the needs that you have as well, which kind of leads into these like next series of photos. I spend a lot of time in the catwalk. I did the UFC, I did the Sharks, I do it here, and it's a really cool perspective. It's really unique, but it becomes repetitive and a dime a dozen after a while. So I'm always thinking of ways to provide unique perspectives and change it up. This one's a tilt shift, just makes everything miniature, gives a unique, cool look. This next one, there's a million bars and pipes and just contraptions up in the catwalk, so I'm looking for little gaps within them to shoot. And part of it is you have to know like the sport you're shooting to and anticipate moments and frame it. A lot easier to do for soccer than football. And this one, same thing, finding gaps to shoot through, but then I also put a kaleidoscope filter on it. And, you know, with filters, you have to be a little smart about how you use them because it becomes very gimmicky
Very
if you
quickly.
overuse it.
Yep.
And so it's like you kind of have to have an idea and plan and not just like spray and pray. So like this one, I knew I had to have a kind of central point of what was my eye drawn to. And it's like right in the middle, player with the ball. And then it just looks like this chaos all around him.
Do they use stuff like this? I know that you do this for
So-
you, but like I'm just curious if they.
So a great thing is now they're about to print like this exact picture. They're going to print like a 7 by 9 foot print of it for our new admin area.
Oh, really? Wow.
So I think something important is, you know, something I was told early on was sometimes the most creative and the prettiest pictures are sometimes the most useless. I didn't really get that at first, but once I started working a staff job, I found out it was like, you know, what a lot of marketing needs are very just static, flat imagery.
On the
to
white
sell.
background, stuff like
White
that.
background, just to send a message, sell a product. Like if you put this on a, you know, game time, 7 p.m., people are going to look at this and be like, what am I looking at? I'm getting a headache. So, you know, originally, like a lot of the creative photos that I would take just wouldn't really see a light of day outside of maybe Instagram. But this organization's done a great job of, they see these photos and they do see it as like, oh, this can be art that can be used around the stadium to showcase a different perspective than just here's player kicking the ball, here's player running with ball. And same thing, just finding unique perspectives. This was a game, I forget the exact tournament, but we had Messi in the building. You know, everyone was going crazy, and these little holes, they're just grates on a very narrow walkway. And I was just looking down and I was walking and I could just kind of see little pinpoints. So I just stood over the goal for probably 15 minutes and just waited for Messi and players kind of run through, and just got this one moment where the goalie and Messi both collided right in the middle of the circle. And, you know,
How long did this take? It was like 20 minutes or something, just waiting on it.
yeah, like 15, 20 minutes
Yeah.
waiting on it, and it, you know, it worked out. And I've tried it again multiple times after that and just never really got a shot quite the same, which is same thing. It's like you're always trying to improve your shots and make them better, and sometimes capture lightning in the ball twice, which is tough to do. But
Before we move on, I know we have the next series of pictures coming up. I do want to ask you, is there anything that you do that helps you stay creative? I know you look at a lot of work, obviously, online. And I can empathize with shooting a lot of games and a lot of repetitive things. You know, sometimes I'll get a lens or, I don't know, try something funky like a filter. Is there anything else that you do that comes to mind that helps you think outside the box or anything like that?
I have a lot of photo books, and a lot of the places I draw inspiration from are not sports. I look outside of sports.
Yeah.
I don't like, not that I don't like looking at sports, I just feel like it becomes very repetitive, and then you're kind of like trying to chase the dragon and capture a action shot that someone else got. I love looking at fashion photography and just seeing how they pose people, how they light people, and then I kind of try and incorporate that with our portraits, because I'm like, these are not models or actors, and so like getting them in a place that puts them in I don't want to say uncomfortable, but like something that they're not used to.
Yeah.
It kind of it shows through the photos a bit more.
Like when you had the Schmidley backdrop, like that's a direct inspiration from obviously fashion and that world, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you said Vogue.
That was actually, I remember when I was preparing for that, I watched a lot of YouTube videos too, and when that popped up, it was like, take portraits like Annie Leibovitz, and I was like, sick. Watched it, and it was like, make it really green, do this, and I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, there's so much to be like learned, and it's so easy to access information that it's a matter of like taking the time to do it. Like I'm not saying you need to do this to succeed, but like at times you have to like live and breathe and make photography your life, because it's evolving, it's changing. There's a million people out there that are insanely talented. I think there's, you know, it's easy to look at other people's work and be like, wow, I kind of suck at what I do. You know,
Very easy.
comparison's the thief of joy. So
Yeah.
just don't worry about what other people are doing. Just focus on what you can control. Is a big one. Yeah, and then portraiture. With these next couple ones, I think it's fun to say. Like, it looks like you're in this cool big studio doing all this stuff, but more often than not, I'm just like in the closet, in the hallway, using whatever little space I can. These portraits were not planned. We had a 50-year anniversary of hip hop game at the stadium, and it was like during halftime, and all these artists were just sitting in a tunnel waiting. So I just threw up a backdrop, had 2 lights, and I literally had guys for like 10 seconds. I'm like, come in, like, I'm gonna capture a couple shots, just show me like how you want to be represented, or how you want to be represented. And like, here's a wide shot just so you can see. It's literally just like a small backdrop in a tunnel, like nothing crazy. But it's taking advantage of those moments, because I'm like, when else am I gonna get a chance to photograph Big Boy, Jid, Ludacris? If you go back to the Ludacris one, same thing. You don't have to, but
No,
it's I love headshots. So I was like, he comes in and he's got this full head of hair, and I'm like, I gotta get a headshot of you. Like, made sure I got like waist up of everyone, but I was like, you know, he delivered for me.
That's the
Perfectly.
thing about, you know, these guys is like, you don't have to direct, and when you have 15 seconds, it's even better, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
like, right,
Yeah, they came in, they did what they needed to do, and it's just like, we have now this whole library of images of iconic Atlanta artists that, you know, if they ever come and do anything, we just have images readily available to promote them.
Was this your idea? Were you like, hey, they're going to be here, let me try to squeeze in a little portrait station?
Yep.
Like the
Yep.
Oscars or something where they
Yeah,
have the...
yeah. So I always use a Post Malone one to reference, because it's easy to be like recognizable face, and they're like, okay, well, he let you take his picture, so I guess
Yeah.
most people let you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like, again, you continue to build that trust. Everyone saw these photos, and they're just like, you know, now we have a whole series of content that we didn't expect to have, and it was great promotion, not just for Falcons, but for the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. And like, literally, our social team was just getting hounded by all these artists to get images the next day, and they're like,
Oh, they wanted, they were ready to get them, right? Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just about creating that value, right? Like you're bringing value to the table. You're not just like doing what you're told. Like, you're finding things. Like, oh, let me do this.
Yeah, and something that I heard a couple years back at Photo Summit was, you know, we provide a commodity that everyone wants, right? Like, and it's true. Like, I've learned throughout the organization, like every department, every single person from, you know, social, marketing, community events, Arthur Blank, like literally get requests from everyone for photos. And it's like, you provide a commodity that people want and need. So there's a lot of value in that. And you just have to know how to present that value and remind people of what that value is.
Yeah. Constantly.
Constantly, all the time.
Was this one your idea too?
Yeah, this was a Matt Ryan retirement. We knew we wanted to capture some photos of him. I was like, the last thing I want to do is shoot this man on a white background.
Wait, is this a Dan Winters inspiration?
Yeah. Yep. Wow.
Because
Did I
I did
tell
the
you
same thing.
Yeah.
Not as well.
But yeah, I actually just watched, and if you have Disney Plus, I'd recommend it. There's a docu-series called Photographers, and one of the episodes has Dan Winters, and he's phenomenal portrait photographer. He does a range of things, but this was heavily inspired by Dan Winters. Literally found like a distressed wood table on Facebook Marketplace, used a painted backdrop, and Matt Ryan, just absolute class act, was willing to do everything. And so, like I said, sometimes less is more, but I never do.
See, I
Listen
tried
to
this,
that.
and I wanted them to have like their bat or their glove or something on the table. It just looked terrible. So we lost the table, and then it was just the background, and then it was weird. But whatever, you know, somebody wins, somebody lose.
Less is more.
That's
But beyond that, I also wanted to do something very unique, and we decided to do tintype portraits with Matt. And so we had this old school film camera. One of our staffers, Emily Hendricks, she was with us, as well as Jay Benlin. And, you know, tintype portraits is a whole like chemistry class of mixing chemicals and timing everything right.
You've done it before?
And no. I had tested it 3 days before.
You're like, it's cool, it's just Matt Ryan. Like, don't worry if it didn't work. It'll.
Well, that's why you do digital. You do the digital because
yeah.
I got my bases covered. But then if this
If
this
this
doesn't
works,
works out, then I was like, you know, I still have the digital photos. So this is the camera that we used. The interesting thing about tintypes is it has like ISO 1, so you have to use a lot of light. So this one I think it took like 5 lights to get those photos.
I was talking to a tintype guy, and he was talking, he uses 2 4,800 watt second strobe pro photos on full power. So that's like sunburn. That's like
Yeah.
10,000 watt seconds. ISO 1's hard to
And
even
most
like.
of our pro photos we had were battery powered, so they didn't even have enough power. So that's why I had to double up on a couple of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these are all at 10, right? Just full power.
Yeah, full power, just blasting in the face. Luckily, he was retiring, so he wasn't gonna throw the football anywhere.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, and then this next,
And he was all about it, right? I'm sure, like,
like class act. Like I don't think he like truly gave 2 shits, but he was like more than happy to do it. Like
Like
it
whatever
was
you
like
do.
his retirement tour, so it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, it was like walking down memory lane, shaking everyone's hand, just being just a true professional.
now what did you do with the actual tintypes? Did you? Are they hanging
We
up?
gave him some. We let him keep some. Well, so we actually had a scanner on site. We scanned all of them. We let him be like,
Oh,
hey,
this is
Matt.
on like right now. Like,
Oh, literally. I would shoot it and I'd hand it off to Jay. Jay took it into another room and Emily mixed the chemicals, had everything developed within like 10, 15 minutes.
wow, it's
Yeah.
faster than digital.
Yeah, yeah, absolute nightmare. But
Oh, bet.
it,
So how many tintypes did you produce?
with Matt, we did about 8.
So each one is like had to have like the emulsion or whatever like painted on or whatever, and it's just like slides.
Yeah, so Emily would be in there, have everything prepped, and we would just kind of be circulating, and we could do 2 at a time, and then there'd be like a 4-minute wait while she would get the other one prepped. And me and Matt would just sit there and awkwardly talk about things to pass
And these
the
are
time.
these are long exposures. Or no, you're
No.
strobe, so it doesn't matter.
Strobe,
it's popped.
so it just
Yeah, yeah,
popped.
I got you.
So it was just a matter of getting each one prepped because Emily could only prep so many at a time. Yeah.
Was that for chemicals or COVID?
Chemicals.
Okay.
Chemicals. Yeah, this,
This is on film, right?
no, this is digital.
This is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, it took a lot of years to kind of get to this point, to build a set like this. And, you know, a big thing about this set is that, like, you know, this isn't just like a one-man band, like, hey, I have this idea, let's do this. Like, this takes like a huge team of people, like literally like probably 30 people to get this done. And what it starts off with is your creative team, providing your look and feel of like, hey, this is what we're planning to do this season. This is what the look that we're gonna have. And the word that kept getting used was bombastic, which I love. Bombastic. You know, just could say it a million times. What it actually translate into a photo, like I didn't really know, but we worked really close with our creative team and our designers to kind of come up with the idea of how do we make this big and grand and you know, provide a unique look that still works within our brand guidelines, but kind of goes beyond just like a red paper backdrop.
Oh, but this I can't go backwards. This was a composite, right?
Yeah, so we had originally planned to have all 3 players on set, but these guys through Media Day, they're hitting multiple sets at once, so to get all of them on set at one time is near impossible. Sometimes you can get 2 players at once. 3 was nearly impossible, so we had a camera on a tripod. We'd have the guys run through all their takes, but either at the start of their time or at the end of their time, we'd have these guys stand on each different shape. Then we made a composite of all of them together. And our design team, because I am not as skilled at Photoshop, but they helped splice that all together.
They each had to be on a tripod, just locked down the whole time, right? Yeah.
No, actually,
Oh.
I taped where the tripod legs were because it was a very small room. So like
Oh,
it
okay.
looks like, again, that's not in a studio. That is in like a press conference room at Flowery Branch. And there is this set, these guys, and there's about 10 people surrounded all around me. So it's like the likelihood of that tripod getting hit was very high. So we just kind of taped where it was and plop it back in and kind of hope for the best.
Yeah, say a little prayer.
Yeah, too many prayers. And then same thing, like, looking for ways to be creative. Found another filter that was kind of like a star filter. This one's a bit more dramatic, but we kept going back to the bombastic theme. And we found someone that made a football full of sparkles and made sure to blast that with light and just kind of create this larger than life photo shoot.
So how many sets were you guys doing on this?
We had 3 sets for this one. So we had this set, which is our main campaign set, the white set, which is our essential like league assets, marketing assets, everything you need, and then an overhead set where one of our photographers is up on a scissor lift shooting down, getting action shots and portraits of players from above, because the bird's eye view is such a big part of what we do now for the Falcons that we capture everything in game, but it's nice to have a little bit sharper, crisper images in the studio setting.
But this one was the most bombastic right here.
The most.
It was.
Shout out Ray Ray.
And now we're getting into some of your Falcons work, BTS games.
Yeah. And so, like I said, it's kind of the theme of it all is like, I always go back to like the storytelling, the behind the scenes. Like, is there a ton of cases for these images? Not really, but like players love them. I love them. They help keep me fulfilled. I love telling a story, like, how like everyone that is a Falcons fan already is seeing what's happening on the field. They see those big moments, they see the touchdowns, they see the celebrations, but not everyone gets to see these moments in between, the moments before, the anticipation, the stress, the work leading up to it. So those always stood out to me.
Did you have to like fight for, or press for access like this? I know you've been there a few years by now.
Yeah, so much of it is dependent on what your coach allows and what your coach wants. Because the first 2 years, coach didn't want anyone distracting players and being in the locker room. That was their sacred space. So it's like you understand that, you respect that, and you find other ways to capture moments, either being like right outside the locker room as soon as they walk out, post game, everything. So for the first couple of years, we didn't have that access. Then we got a new coach, and he had already had an established relationship with some of our digital and video team, and they had thankfully already built that relationship. So when he came in, he was like, "Yeah, photo, video, you're good to be in for like 10 minutes at a specific time." And you always want to respect that. They're giving you an opportunity to go in there, and you always want to make sure you capture them in a good light, right? Like, you don't want to make these guys look bad. You don't want to burn that bridge or take that trust away.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Same thing. It's like my entire career has been looking for different angles and perspectives, down below, up top, and it's again getting those reps, doing the same thing. And even though it is the same thing, it's completely different because you're in a totally new space, unique atmosphere that provides different things. Like this ATL photo of Matt Ryan. The overhead
I
one.
keep moving, sorry.
No, you're good. Like that one, to a degree, like we may never get again because they don't paint the end zone black anymore, because there was a player who got his foot over the line to the end zone, but they couldn't tell because his shoe was black. And so coach was pissed because the touchdown got called back. And so they're like, we'll never paint it black again. And
Just wear white cleats, man.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So now, I think, there's probably a possibility it could come back, but it was like ever since then, like, so it's like sometimes like that, things like that happen. You'll never have like a clean black background where it almost looks like a composited picture.
Yeah.
But literally it's just the smokes come in, it looks like you're up in the sky looking down. Sometimes a lot of it is luck and just being prepared when all those layers kind of come together.
Yeah, I mean, I just love stuff from the roof anyway. That's my favorite place to be.
Yeah.
Just cleans up the background.
Yeah, you got some great shots this year.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Bajan just breaking ankles.
Oh, man, I was a good luck charm for Bajan. Well, not really, but I was. But yeah, it was so much fun up there. You just see everything. It's just so clean, like.
And this guy was up on the roof in Georgia Dome well before I was here, so
That Georgia
he's
Dome.
a real OG.
And that Georgia Dome roof was a bit gnarly. It was a lot different than it was like an outer ring, middle ring, and center ring. And when we were covering the Final Four, was it Final Four? It was a big, it was March Madness. It had to be Final Four, because they had the scoreboard hanging from that rung, the top.
Shaking.
Yeah. And so when you would walk down like the straightaways to get to the other, like it was just a ring, the platform was like tilted like 20 degrees. And it was fun times. It was fun times up there.
Nothing like risking your life for a photo.
Yeah, and you were directly like over the field. I was up there for the Chick-fil-A, story time for me for just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, it's just funny, it's a Chick-fil-A bowl, and I guess they sent up like middle managers up there to like, or just Chick-fil-A people to like do the confetti over the field. And it was like 4 billion steps to get to the top. I mean, it's 300 feet, it's way up there. And so these people get up there, and as soon as they get up there, they're scared to death. And they're like on their hands and knees, like crawling around. It's a great story. Sorry. Back
Just
to
watching
you.
the fear in their
Yeah,
eyes
it was
as they
amazing.
climb up. A big thing that I'll reiterate is the 6 Ps, like preparation. Like a lot of these shots are thought out well in advance, because ones like this, there's a little bit more like technical aspects to it. Like I wish I had a picture of it, but this is just a rig. I have a clamp that's connected to my camera that has a tube light that is red, because I'm just in a hallway that's completely dark. I'm doing a slow shutter, and so the slow shutter is capturing the red tube movement, and at the final moment it pops a flash. So like that's how you get that. But a lot of photos that I have, non-game action, pre-game, post-game, all that, they're all very much thought out. I always have these ideas in my head of like what I want to capture. And what's helped me, and I've told my team this, is that like if you go into a game and you're just hoping to get good photos, like you're probably going to struggle. I always suggest that you have 1 or 2 photos in mind. You're like, I really want this photo for my portfolio, for fulfillment, for whatever, and do your best to make sure that within the time you're capturing the game, you get that one photo for you. Because I do believe like it helps you feel like you hit a goal, you feel accomplished, and then you can start to feel like, okay, I can capture whatever it is next that I need. But if you just go into a game day and you're like, I hope to get like the game-winning touchdown, one-handed catch, like love my Falcons, but there's a lot of rough games sometimes, and you're not getting those big action moments. So you have to find those moments in between and kind of plan out these shots that you
Like
want to get.
pregame or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And you guys use a lot of strobes and colors and different things. And I'm sure half the time it doesn't work out, or more than that, than what you're looking
Again, for every decent photo you see, there are thousands and thousands of tests and misfires and out of focus shots, and that's the hard thing about kind of photography right now. It's a very curated world, so it's like you see the best of the best that everyone does, and then it's easy to fall into like, wow, like I have a long way to go, or I'm not getting what I need. But it's not the case. It's getting those reps, making sure that everything becomes second nature, so it's very natural, and you know what to capture in the moment. You see a light, and you know exactly what your exposure needs to be. And it's just building that confidence. That's why I think it's good to have a goal of, I need to get this one image for myself to build that confidence and go get through the day with something that you're proud of that you got.
Well, I just got the 5-minute mark. We've only got about 12 slides. I do want you to tell the story about this one. You said this one was pretty difficult.
Yeah, this one took me years to get. I tried a couple times in 2023. Yeah, 23. And it's terrifying. Like this one, you have to get strapped into a harness. You're not just on the catwalk. You climb out onto like the roof pedals that open up, and you're directly in the middle. Got a million safety cables. You've got everything going on, and you're dangling over the edge holding this. And the hardest part is you're using this fisheye lens that gives like, about 180 degrees, and there's lights, there's like bars, there's all these things just like obstructing your view. So I could never get a shot exactly how I wanted it with the full halo board. And then finally I was talking to our roof mechanic, and I'm like, I'm trying to get this photo and it's really pissing me off. I can't get the halo board this. And he's like, oh, here, let me give you the key so you can extend this one thing out and get like another like 4 feet to the middle. And I was like, oh, like that's, I wish I knew this like 2 years ago. And he went up there with me, he showed me how to do it, helped. And, you know, part of it goes back to like the relationships that you build. Like I wouldn't have been able to get this photo without the knowledge that our roof mechanic had. Cause he like, when I was telling him this, he's like, oh, you're trying to get this photo? And he like pulls out his phone and he took like a random like world app like photo, and he had that phone. I'm like, how'd you get this? And he's like, oh, it's like small world app. And I'm like, okay, but like, how did you like get past that? And he's like, oh yeah, here's a key, go do that. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, this roof mechanic has crazy pictures all the time. He's talking to me about it. So it's like building those relationships and having that help will only help you in the long run. And looking outside of the field of play. You know, there's a lot of interesting fans and a lot of unique photos to be made.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, you know, the game is like, I mean, it's more than 20% of it. But to me, there's I want pictures where they make the cotton candy. That's what I'm like. That's where I want to be. You know, like whatever's happening outside, there's so much, and you do such a good job of that.
Well, I think after like, you know, we've been doing it for a while, you shoot so much game action that like nothing excites you. You're like, you know.
You're dead inside.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Too often.
I'm just kidding.
We'll run through these quickly, but you know, there's been a big resurgence in film. I love film. There's a lot of people that love film, and I think it's really fun. It's really rewarding because it's very difficult to get exposure right. You got 32 slides to capture a shot, and nothing like having a panic attack when the team gets to the end zone and you have 2 shots left, and you're like, do I burn this roll of film and put in another one, or do I just rock with 2 shots and hope for the best? But it is great because it helps you slow down, take a moment, think about things. And it makes me appreciate Sony and 30 frames per second, because when I get an action shot in film, it's like the greatest feeling ever, because it's one good shot, and before and after is just either
Manual
out of focus
focus?
or missed. What?
Manual focus?
Most of the time,
Yeah.
this one is a Nikon F5, an old film camera I have, which has autofocus. Otherwise, not Walter Ios. I can't get the
I know.
catch.
Those guys
manual
that can follow
focus.
focus, it's a whole different planet.
Yeah, and then same thing, finding those moments in between. Like this picture, I didn't think twice about. Like, I just captured it as I was walking past the sidelines, and like the social team was obsessed with this. Drake London and Ray were like actually giving the team shit because they didn't get it, and the social team posted it first. And like, you know, I think it just gave the feeling of nostalgia and just like this moment again. Is it a big moment? No. Is there anything really happening? No. But it is a moment of these 2 players connecting on the bench. And it just had the feeling of just like almost being back in Georgia Dome.
Oh yeah, it's got a totally different vibe. It's so nostalgic, especially with the it's the old throwback jerseys
Yeah,
too.
so we only did it for the throwback games,
Yeah,
really,
that makes
because
sense,
it made sense. It kind of went hand in hand. Like, I wasn't shooting film every game because I have a million other responsibilities to do, but the aesthetic for throwback made sense, so we would do it for throwback games. And yeah, you know, wrapping it up, like, I'll say it again, like, young photographer, old photographer, vet, like, you know, relationships are what is going to take you far in this industry. You know, we have such an amazing team here in Atlanta, and not just the AMBSC, but like our contractors, like this. I've been with a couple different organizations. I've lived in different cities, and like this city is like the most talented pool of like creatives I've ever met. It's insane. Like, you know, our staff, photographers, designers, videographers, and then all of our contractors too. You know, it's fascinating how good everyone is, but you know, those relationships are so key in your career, because you know, you bounce ideas off people, you build those relationships, you learn new things. You can't get through this industry alone. Maybe some people can. I'm not one of those people, but I think you're always going to get farther with the support and help of your community, of your contractors. Like I say all the time, like, you know, we're a well-functioning machine at AMBSC, but like we wouldn't be able to do half the things, if not more, of what we do with our contractors. Our freelancers take on such a massive workload for us to be able to do fun things while you guys do community events. But still, you know, it is nice because, like, you know, we're in a way trying to do our best to support our community, provide jobs, while also getting everything that we need. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
And then mentor kids like Don mentored you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Don was kind of mean, but it made me tough. So I learned, I was like, I'm not going to be like Don when I when I have people. But now, like, some of my teams met Don, and they're like, Don's lovely. What are you talking about? I'm like,
he wasn't lovely to me.
yeah. I was like, you haven't been screamed at while you're trying to hold a light. And he's like, further down. You're like, I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I appreciate all of you guys coming out.
It's been
listening
great.
to me yap.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it, Donnie. I want to ask the powers to be, do we have time for a couple of questions? Got any objections? I'm going to say yes. All right. Anybody got any questions? All right, right here, and then I got two back here. Go ahead, Daniel.
You mentioned two cameras, Nikon and Sony. Is that what you shoot?
Yeah. Most
Did y'all hear that? Yeah, he wants to know, boring question, he wants to know whether he shoots Sony or Nikon. We burned a question on that.
So I started my career with a Canon camera that my mom bought me at Costco. And then, so I mostly shot Canon when I first started freelance. I went to the UFC. They had all Nikon gear. So I had to learn Nikon, did that. I went to the Sharks. I was their first staffer. So they're like, what do you want? And I was like, well, I know Nikon now, so I'll do Nikon. Came to AMBSC, they had all Nikon gear, and it was during the time of the transition to mirrorless. DSLR is pretty much dying and dead, and we made a deal with KEH.
That's a great question,
KEH.
Daniel.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
And KEH traded in all of our Nikon gear, and we got brand new Sony gear, and we haven't looked back.
Yeah. All right, we had two in the back. I can't see, but go ahead. Yeah, you. I want to repeat it because we need it for video, right? Yeah. So with AI, how do young photographers, with AI being ubiquitous, build a portfolio, a career, and make photography that matters and gets, without access like you have to the Falcons and United, right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, and with how fast, how low people's attention spans are.
And how dumb people are. Yeah.
I'm the smartest dumb guy you know, so I think we're all still trying to navigate AI. The only AI I really pay attention to are like stupid AI slop videos of cats and funny things like that. But I think it goes back to like when I first started, and it's like a lot of the work that I did was just kind of personal projects. Like you can find friends, you can find unique places, like go far. There's so many places in Atlanta you can go and just take your camera to and just capture really strong photography. And you don't need AI for that. I think there's a lot of value in AI with like the tools to help with your workflow, especially when it comes to like digital asset management and tagging and things like that. But I think it's a lot harder now. Like, more people are content creators now than they are photographers, I would say. And so it's definitely a difficult industry to break into. But I always go back to those personal projects because like that's going to separate your work from someone else, because that is your specific point of view. That is your creativity that like differentiates yourself from someone else, right? It's like.
And you care about it so much that you're doing it on your own time whenever,
Yeah, because again, like if I'm looking at a portfolio and it's like, there's 50 photos of like Falcons action. It's like, there's a million photographers on the sidelines. Like nothing about that stands out to me. But if I see a a portrait series, or I see this series of photos that like, you know, you went around town and collected on your own, like that's going to stand out to me and separate you from the pack.
Yeah.
I'm not
All
sure
right.
if that answers your question, but
I'm gonna say we got time for 2 more questions. Does that sound good? All right. So we got the gentleman in the back, and then this gentleman right here. So I'll repeat it for video. In shooting action and movement, how do you know what to keep? How do you know what to save? Or are you asking like for archiving stuff? Or are you saying like selects for like?
you're talking about like slow shutter, like abstract type of
Oh, and the
photos.
experimental work. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's a great question because that is a question that gets asked a lot. And my answer to that is it's all subjective, you know? Like I can't tell you how many like experimental photos with movement that I've taken that I'm like, what am I looking at? Like, what is this? And then I have a friend look at it and they're like, this is the sickest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, it is pretty sick. Like,
I meant to do that.
Like, yeah, it's just like, it is so like subjective and like, it, you know, it's kind of like any form of art, you know, like everyone interprets it differently. So I think like, again, we're looking at other people's work and you're like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Like, I wonder how they did that. And like the person that probably took it is looking at that and they're like, slow shutter. Like, you know, it is very subjective. So I think for me, it's always just going with your gut. What is it that you like, that you're going to share with the world, that you're happy with? Like, don't worry about what other people think. Easier said than done. But, the organization rarely is going to use a photo like that ever. I mean, you know, like that, again, like a lot of those are doing it to fulfill my own needs and I think are good and creative, and then I'm going to post later. Our creative team does a great job finding ways to use that. You know, I think movement and slow shutter has become much more popular, so it is being incorporated in more things, but I have not really received too much direction to be like, I want photo with a slow shutter and movement. It does happen at times, but it's a very specific use cases for those because, again, an organization is trying to sell tickets, tell you what time to be at the stadium, sell certain things, so they just want picture Bijan Robinson smiling, you know, not abstract movement, who is this player, or what is this picture?
Or 55 soccer players with a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I get it. All right, last one right here.
When you have such short access to your subjects, what are some of those things that you do to help get them comfortable and bought in on your content, especially if it's huge content that you have bought in on what you're trying to capture so quickly? What are those things you're trying to do for that?
All right, hang on. So you're asking when you have such a limited time with celebrities or whoever, how do you get them to buy into your concepts that you're trying to get them to do?
Yeah, it's hard. I always have to remind our leadership at times that like these are athletes, they're not models, they're not actors, actresses. You know, a lot of guys are just not going to be comfortable in front of a camera. So like there are guys like Bijan Robinson who like love the camera and they're great and they'll give you everything you need and more. And there's other guys that like will just step in and they'll just be like a dead fish, and you kind of just have to roll with it. I think sometimes you know who's going to give it to you and who's not, and I try not to waste guys' time if I know they're not going to give me anything. But you know, one thing that always really helps is like, especially for the big shoots, is our creative team is on site. They usually have like mood boards either set up on a V-flat or they have it in hand. So as soon as guys steps on set, it's like, you know, hey Bijan, we're going to have you do this. Here's a couple looks. Give them an idea of what we're expecting of them. So it's like not necessarily just directing on the spot. Like I will do that on the spot, but they have an idea of what they're stepping into, what it's going to look like in the end. The hardest ones are always like the very first couple guys before you actually have examples. After you shoot the first couple guys, then you have an example of like, hey, this is what that player just did and it looks great. Like, this is what we're trying to get out of you.
Yeah. All right. Man, this has been amazing. Thank everyone for coming here. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
And we'll be cleaning up, but feel free to hang out, linger, talk. I think the bar's still open, maybe. I don't know if it is.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and stay tuned for our next announcement on who's next, and we'll see you here in a couple months. Thanks, brother. Yeah, man. It was awesome, dude.